Okay, I'm back for the final video of this three-part series focused on the speech one assignment prompt. And I want to make this short and just talk to you a little bit about the rubric of evaluation. This is how I'm going to grade or evaluate your speech. And you can find this on the rubric here. It begins on page number 4 at the end of the prompt or the assignment description. It starts with the assignment rubric, right? And this is what I'll use to grade you. So I would treat this a bit like a checklist and ask yourself, am I doing all the things that appear in this column? Because these are what we would call the learning objectives, right? Are you using good volume, good rate, good pitch? All of these things down to time, your use of time, and your use of the note cards. Okay, just notice that as far as composition or the content of the speech, there's really only 4 learning objectives, 2 for the introduction and 2 for the conclusion. The rest of the speech is delivery. And that's on purpose because in this first speech, my emphasis and what I'm trying to make sure you have a good foundation with is delivery, right? So I want you to focus on rehearsing and practicing and delivery, and a disproportionate number of your points, your score, come from delivery, nonverbal and verbal. But here's how it works. Learning objective here. And then in the first column, accomplished. Second column, developing. Third column, beginning. And notice this one's worth 3, the most amount of points. That's what you're after. You want to be accomplished. And then each box gives a verbal description of what I'm looking for and what might land you in that particular box. For the thesis statement, for example, I want 1 grammatically correct declarative sentence that clearly and concisely expresses the main idea of the speech. For developing, it might be 1 grammatically correct declarative sentence that states the main idea but does it either unclearly or is extra wordy or is just kind of awkwardly worded. Here, beginning, the main idea of the speech is inferred. It's really kind of hard for me. It's not directly stated, in other words, it's indirectly stated, or it's inaccurately stated or imprecisely stated. It's vague, essentially. Or maybe it's stated over multiple sentences or contains figurative language or is grammatically incorrect. And you'll have an opportunity to draft your thesis statement in that upcoming thesis statement assignment, but that's how I'm going to ultimately evaluate it in this speech. I'm not going to read you all of these, but please download, consider printing, and read each of these things carefully and do as you're rehearsing, and you should spend a significant amount of time rehearsing. Go over this like a checklist. Am I doing these things? If you do these things, your score will be higher. If you have a masterpiece, speech that kind of reinvents the speech but doesn't follow any of these things, it could end up with a lower score than perhaps you deserve. So play the game, follow the rubric. And I hope this series of videos was helpful for you. If you have any questions about this speech assignment, take it to the Common Course Questions board.